Last weekend versus Arkansas. Yesterday, Nick Saban with an update on his quarterback, telling ESPN Bryce has been practicing, and all week he's been saying that he could play. But that's going to be a medical decision. We've still got some time, and I want to talk more to Bryce. He's the only one who knows how he feels because it's going to be a pain tolerance thing. He's a tough kid and great competitor. We'll see where he is on game day. So this was a game that before the season we thought was going to be one of the real tests for Alabama against Texas A&M. Doesn't feel like it's setting up that way. How significant is the shoulder right now of the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, David Pollack?
Well, it's significant too, Grinny, because Bryce Young is not a big dude. You know, he's a slightly built guy. He doesn't have a big frame. So now you think about taking hits the rest of the season on that shoulder. You know it's going to come back to haunt him. It's a matter of when, not if. But here's the thing with Alabama. Alabama, they rush players back. They expect a level of competition. They will put people on the field that are not feeling 100%. That is absolutely part of their culture. I don't think you should do that with Bryce Young. You're playing A&M this week, who struggles to score points. Bad. I mean, they have stunk offensively throughout the majority of this season. So Milroe, who came in last week, who is exciting, Greeny. Next week, you might be talking about this guy even more about how electric he is, how dynamic he is running the football. Think Jalen Hurts versus Tua. He is a great athlete. The offense will be built around what he can do with his feet. More screen passes, more QB draws. The run game will pick up big time for Alabama with him at the quarterback helm, but I think you can win this game without Bryce Young. I just don't know if Nick Saban will let that happen because he always wants to push guys and grind guys to make sure that they're always pushing themselves, always trying to get on the field.
To be clear, you're saying they can win this week without Bryce Young if they have to. Can they win several games? And it does not sound like this is going to be the case, but there's the schedule. A tough one with Tennessee. The game with LSU is working. That's a long way off, and one would assume he'll be back. But can they win without him consistently if they are forced to?
I don't think so. I don't think they can win what Alabama wants to do. Alabama wants to win it all. I don't think they'll win it all without Bryce Young. Bryce Young, think about, Greeny, go to the Texas game. They couldn't run the football. They were struggling. He pulls a rabbit out of the hat off the corner blitz and dips underneath it, goes and scrambles and makes a play. I think his ability to make plays, listen, they're still finding out about these wide receivers. They don't have a wide receiver they can trust yet. The passing game is not elite like it was a year ago, but I think they need Bryce Young. They need him to be healthy. And next week, you play Tennessee. Hendon Hooker, he's one of the favorites for the Heisman Trophy right now with what he's been able to do. It's up-tempo. They can fly. It'll be at Tennessee. They're going to have to score points. So I look for Bryce Young next week more than I would want him to play.
The call, I got an issue with the execution. And you have an issue with the execution all night. Players win in critical football moments. Players win in situational football. When you're in the red zone and you throw a skinny and that's picked off by Gilly, you can't do that if you're Russell Wilson. If you have Hamler running wide open to your right and you're not going through your progression and you eventually lock in on Cortland Sutton and Gilly makes another play, that's on the quarterback. Nathaniel Hackett did what he was supposed to do. He put the football in the hands of his $256 million man. At some point, we got to realize we are now ordering Uber Eats. We are now waiting on Waiter. We are not letting Russ cook. If we're waiting for Russ to cook in Denver, we are going to starve.
Listen, I actually agree with everything you just said verbatim. But here's the bottom line. The conversation we were having, RC, that you were out front of, is Russell Wilson is not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Peyton Manning. But right now, he's not Cooper Rush. I mean, he's not. It's one thing for him not to be an all-time great. This is awful. What we are watching in Denver right now is awful. How much of it is the quarterback?
All of it's the quarterback. Listen, when you're an all-time great, like Aaron Rodgers is not going to move a place and all of a sudden not be a good quarterback. And Russell Wilson is still in the prime of his career. Russell Wilson is 33. Russell Wilson has only lived as long as Jesus did before he gave his life for our sins. And so Russell Wilson should be right now ascending, right? It's the way that we see quarterbacks play late into their careers. Tom Brady at 45. Aaron Rodgers about to be 40. These dudes got better at this point. And so you bring Russell Wilson in. And what did all y'all say all offseason? Oh, look at these weapons. We're going to plug him in, and it's going to be fire from the start. Well, it hasn't been, right? It's more like it's been a fire extinguisher adding Russell Wilson to this team. And so you think about the expectations of what this offense had and tie that in with the team knowing what they had defensively. This is an ultimate all-time failure to start a season with one of the best quarterbacks or quote-unquote thought of best quarterbacks in their era. So when you think about or when you go to whose failure is this, it solely lies on the shoulders of number 3 to me. This is a team you wanted to go to. This is a team you talked about like LeBron. It's not 1 or 2 championships. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You thought you were going on to the big 3 and taking your talents to South Beach. That is not what this has been. This has been North Dakota. This has been dry. This has been bland. This has been raisins and paprika on potato salad. This is not what you expected. And it seems that now that we've pinpointed it's not working, it's gotten worse. It hasn't stepped up there. They haven't gotten better. Russell hasn't called you know why you can't call a team-only meeting? You can't call a team-only meeting when you separate yourself from the team. You got to be one of the guys. You got to dig in. Russell Wilson is not one of the guys and not digging in Denver right now.
Chris Canty, that has been a question about him, his leadership, the way he is amongst teammates and other things, the Legion of Boom going back all the way to the beginning in Seattle. Do you see it the same way RC does right now?
Well, yeah, you can't eat everybody's potato salad, so I'm 1,000% with RC on that one. But here's what I'll say. Russell's got to be more aware, especially in the post-game press conference. I don't need to hear Broncos country, let's ride, after you took that kind of whooping in a primetime game. Chill out on that front. But where I will push back on is Russell Wilson all of a sudden becoming a terrible quarterback. If you look at the last 3 years prior to this season, Russell Wilson is 7th in QBR amongst all quarterbacks and 3rd to touchdown interception ratio. It ain't like Russell Wilson has forgotten how to play quarterback. I give him the benefit of the doubt based on his track record. Nathaniel Hackett, not so much. And when we come to the decision that we saw at the end of the fourth quarter with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, you got a 3-point lead. Why are you throwing the football rather than running the ball, getting it to the 2-minute warning and kicking a field goal? Your defense ain't gave up a touchdown all night. To take a 6-point lead in the final 2 minutes of that game, that is gold. That is the opportunity to win the game. That's the call that Nathaniel Hackett should have made rather than going for it on 4th and 1 in overtime down 3.
We're going to have all morning long to continue on this game and all that. Let me get a final thought here, Brooke, from you. It's also a weird moment, and you heard it in that soundbite, when Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach of the football team, says, well, we got the go-ahead to go for it on 4th down, which suggests that someone is giving him the permission to do that. I mean, as long as the game has been played, that's been the head coach's decision. I understand that he brought in someone to help him in game management circumstances, but the decision on whether we're going to go for it on 4th down to kick a field goal there has to be the head coach's decision. As you watch this, how much of it to you feels like the coaching and how much feels like the quarterback?
I think this is on Russ. I mean, you paid him $250 million to not be this bad. Also, I wouldn't be a good pastor's daughter if I didn't point out to RC that Jesus didn't play football and he had like 2 extra playmakers. So I'm just going to point that out. That's why Jesus was in his prime and Russell is not. Okay. I think that this also, though, should broaden out to the conversation of, I know that my expertise is the Steelers here, so I'm going to speak from that perspective, but they didn't spend big money on a quarterback. And yes, they have their own set of problems. We're not going to cast stones. But this is why you don't go out and spend that money, because you could end up with a situation like this. I mean, they spent all this money for what? To get booed at your home stadium, to have fans counting down the play clock? I mean, this has just been an unmitigated disaster the whole way through.
All right, so let me leave that there for the moment. We're going to come back. You're going to hear more from Russell. We will have more coverage of this game, but it's a Football Friday. I want to get to a few others. Our next stop is L.A.